So it's day 4 of the Royal Tour, and Prince Harry is doing some solo engagements. And today he revealed why Africa has played such an important part in his life. So let's have a quick look at this, and I'll do some commentary.
It's a place he's called a second home since losing his mother, Princess Diana.
I came here when I was 97, 98, straight after my mum died, so it was a nice place to get away from it all.
15 years on, Prince Harry says he's still deeply connected to Botswana.
A sense of escapism, a real sense of purpose. I'm able to come down here.
He's gone there with Meghan twice, first when they began dating in July 2016, but today the Duke is travelling solo, his tour starting at a conservation project.
I don't think there's anyone that's not involved in conservation and somehow or shouldn't be involved in conservation somehow.
He's doing his bit for the environment, planting trees with school children.
This last week, led by Greta, the world's children are striking. I think there's an emergency.
The Prince is backing 16-year-old climate change activist Greta Thunberg.
It's a race against time, and one in which we are losing. Everyone knows it, that no one can deny science, otherwise we live in a very, very troubling world.
After joining an anti-poaching patrol and visiting a mental health charity, Harry will head to Angola. There he'll visit the minefield his late mother famously walked across in 1997, retracing her steps, continuing her legacy.
So there we go. So really, really interesting, because at the time we were all sort of caught up with the whole Lady Diana dying, Princess Diana, and we didn't really think about Harry. Harry went to Africa to escape. So I was aware of it, but I just sort of wasn't at the forefront at the time, because I was just investigating why Princess Diana died, and it was really sad. So. But what I wanted to talk about today is everyone's talking about climate change and everything, and I'll put up a website. What I want to talk about today is fertility rates, because nobody talks about it. Everyone talks about reducing, carbon footprint and everything, but there's two ways to tackle climate change. One is to reduce emissions, and the other is to reduce people. And one of the main ways to reduce how many people in the world is fertility rates. And interesting enough, it says, I knew this, I've known this for years, it says a vast majority of countries in the world with the highest fertility rates are in Africa, with Niger topping the list at 7.153 children per woman. My God. Followed by Somalia at 6.123 children per woman. Democratic Republic of Congo, Mali, Chad followed 5.9. So it's like most of Africa, like you look here, the darker areas are the most populated. I mean, the most fertility rate, And you see they're all in Africa. That's one over there. But so you look at the highest fertility rate, it's just got the, where are we? Here we go. So this is ranked by fertility rate. Niger, Somalia, Mali, Chad, Angola. So he's already going to Angola tomorrow. Burundi, Uganda, Nigeria, Gambia, Burkina Faso, and Mozambique. All African countries, all above 5 children per woman. Now, nobody mentions this. And why don't we mention it? Why don't we mention that Africa's got a fertility problem that they need to... One of the main things is there's a direct correlation between educated women and lower number of children. So the more educated you are, the less children you have, basically. So hopefully Meghan will be able to make inroads into this and get more women into education and universities and so forth. And hopefully this will drop, because this is unsustainable, and probably the only sort of factor that's saving us is that these countries are so poor. They're probably not their carbon footprint per person isn't anywhere near like the developed countries of the world. So that's because you imagine if every person in the US, every woman in the US produced 7.153, like 7 children. It'd be crazy. But it never gets talked about. And I sort of thought I'd bring it up because I don't know, why isn't it being taught? Is it sort of like a race thing? Don't sort of complain about, don't sort of say you want to reduce the population of black people in the world or something? I don't know. This is just facts. Niger has, seven. That's just crazy. And I actually talked to, there was like an arts exhibition at the Royal Showgrounds, down near where I live, and there was a lady there. I think she was doing making beads. It was called Beads for Africa. Her stall. And I'd sort of just finished reading up about this, so I sort of saw it as a sign to, ask her about it. And I just asked her directly. And I was reading up on, Africa and, why do African women have so many children? She's like, I don't know. She goes, I think it's maybe because they think that more children will be, help, in the fields, like, in the, production of, crops and everything, which is it's fairly logical, but that is just insane how many children they're having. And as I said, if Africa was totally, fully developed, like, say China, for example, or US, Europe, we would have huge problems because of the carbon footprint. But it's pretty sad that we applaud that African countries aren't producing emissions and they're poor, because the alternative is pretty devastating. So when you look down here, we'll start at ones with the least population: Taiwan, Moldova, like 1.2. Then I think 2.1 is like the replacement rate of people. So you need around 2.1 to replace all these countries. Their populations are just going to die off. Taiwan, Moldova, Portugal, Singapore. That surprised me. A lot of professionals in Singapore, though. Hey, Poland. You still think the Polish people would produce lots of kids? Greece. The Greeks are always going, when are you going to have your kids? South Korea. That makes sense. Hong Kong. So all these countries here are sort of Asia and Europe. Mauritius, Croatia, Thailand. So I'll put a link in the description here so you can have a look through Italy. See, it's only when you get to who's around 2.1. 2.1-ish. So Mexico. You sort of think of Mexicans having large families. 2.1. Now, I know these numbers are correct because I looked at the CIA fact book as well, and they're all about the same. India, 2.3. You sort of think Indians have more kids too. Indonesia, that's, the Balinese, you can only fit two kids on the bike, plus 2 adults. That's probably why they have 2 kids. 2 kids on the scooter, plus 2 adults. That's the maximum. South Africa, 2.4. Saudi Arabia. Yeah, it's very interesting. Very interesting. All the top 10 countries of too many children, I'd like to say. 7. That's just. It's just, every time I see 7, I sort of think, I just can't fathom it. What's the population of Niger? Let's have a quick look. It's just going to run out of time here. I'll just put this back. See, population. Oh, silly big fingers. Population. Well, you can see here. It's just going up and up and up. 1960, it was 21.48 million. Oh, hang on. 1960 was 3.389 million. It's now 2017. They're up to 21 million. So it's at 50 years, is it? Actually, 57 years. 57 years, they went from 3.3 million to 21 million. Yeah, it's just a lot exponential through here. Actually, you probably can't see it too well. I'll just zoom in. There we go. It's quite a good little interactive graph here. So Niger, population growth 3.6 annual change, 3.7, 3.8. You see on the side there, used to be only 2.8. Gross domestic product has been going up. Oh, and it's been going down. Very interesting. Nigeria. Nigeria was 45 million in 1960. Now it's 190.9 million. You know, nobody talks about population. I wonder why, because it's just a product of, you can only reduce, get so much efficiency out of a car, etc. But the easiest way, if you want to halve the emissions, halve the people in the world. Just let the population drop instead of making an increase every year. But that's my 2 bobs worth. But I must admit, I'm not too sure why this never gets brought up. It probably is a racism thing. It's probably don't mention the overpopulation of Africa. You'll be called racist. It's just statistics, really, isn't it? If you want to, we need to tackle this problem very, very logically and with. You call it a future plan, and nobody talks about population in the future plan. I know China had the one-child policy for a while. Now they sort of figured out that all the elderly aren't going to be able to be paid for, like Social Security. I don't think there's much Social Security in China, but traditionally the children sort of look after the elderly. So if there's not enough children, they're not going to look after the elderly. So, So what do you guys think? Leave it there. What do you guys think? Do you think we should be talking more about population control? Well, not population control, but what do you call it? Birth control. Birth control in the world. I know there is a lot of birth control education in Africa, but it's obviously not working, because you can see the graph. It's increasing, isn't it? It's not like a steady increase. It's an actual exponential increase coming up through here. So it looks like Mauritania is sort of a little bit flatter. It looks like Chad and Niger are having a race so you can get populated the most. But it's pretty crazy. I think it's like, how many people in Africa? I think about 250 million or something, isn't it? Population of Africa. 1.2 billion. Where did I get 250 million from? I think I was thinking about Nigeria. Population. Nigeria. 2019. Yeah, 202 million. That's what I was thinking. Nigeria's around 200 million. That's a lot. You sort of think, when you think of Africa, you don't sort of think of overpopulation, do you? Because it's such a vast continent. And you sort of think of these vast savannas and animals roaming free, but no, that's 1.2 billion people in Africa. And I think it's the fastest growing population in the world, and continent, fastest growing continent in the world, which we can probably look up as well. Fastest growing world continent. It won't be Antarctica, that's for sure. Africa, there we go. Fastest growing continent. More than half of global population growth between now and 2050 is expected to occur in Africa. Africa has the highest rate of population growth amongst major areas. It's from the UN. So what's the little graph they got there? What's this one? World population, 1990, 5.3 billion. So it's pretty much going to more than double by 2100. It's not looking good, guys. So really, you need to halve the emissions just to be stable. If everyone's at the same, what do you call it, level of prosperity, standard of living. But if the standard of living is going up and the population, look at what's happening in China. The standard of living, like the middle class, is burgeoning, and their carbon footprint per person is going up. So yeah, big issues in the world. It's not as simple as what Greta thinks. There needs to be some major decisions going on. You need to cut down the population for a start. That's just insane. So I read somewhere that the Earth can sustainably support 500 million people, and already got like 8 billion. It's just unsustainable. So yeah, I'll tell you what, if we don't do anything, like famine and disease will take over, that's for sure. Because it's like anything, whenever you have like overpopulation, disease just spreads faster. So nature sort of sorts it out. That's what happens in the animal kingdom. And I remember David Attenborough saying that humans are the only species that what was his quote? Oh, I forgot it. I used to say it all the time. That's right. Humans are the only species that believe they can exist in plague proportions. That's what David Attenborough said one time, and it always stuck in my head until I start doing video, and then it goes out of my head. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that one. It's it's a little bit dark, I guess, but I like to tackle issues from a logical perspective and give you my opinion on it, and point out things that aren't really working out. And population control or birth control we need to look at seriously if we want to tackle climate change, because it's only going to get worse. And you can't have exponential growth of people in the planet. It's nuts. I think the scientists will think, we'll be able to use science to increase yields and get rid of disease and blah blah blah. But it's not going to happen quick enough. The rate of efficiency is not overcoming the rate of population growth. That's what I'm seeing anyway. Otherwise, global CO2 levels in the atmosphere would be stable or decreasing, which they're not. Okay, guys, enough doom and gloom. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have a happy video. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing in Angola the township. I just really want to see the township. I could Google it, but I don't want to. I just want to see some footage tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have some footage of Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, in Angola at the township that Princess Diana's late mother, was doing some landmine clearing there. Anyway, guys, I'm very tired. It's like 5:39 in the morning. So I'm going to go to bed now. But I hope you enjoyed that one, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.